Hello guys, thanks for joining me. It's Nicole Dominique from Nicole Beauty Co. And today I am in the Lower East Side of Manhattan and I'm just gonna get ready for my tattoo appointment at 4 with Chris Garver, where hopefully I will be finishing all the initial shading on my full neck to toes bodysuit. So I don't have a ton left. I have like a flower this big on my front rib cage and probably a flower this big right here, and then a little tiny leaf. And then all the bodysuit will be shaded in. Now, I started getting tattooed in 2012. If you've seen some of my other videos, you know a little bit about that. And I really have been very dedicated about going. Normally a full body tattoo, it takes roughly 10 years. And so I am actually have been very dedicated, have been going a lot, have been going for long periods of time. So I'm finishing a little bit early. Now, once the initial shading is done, we are gonna go back in and adjust the tones in some locations. So for example, my sleeves, my right sleeve is the oldest. I did that in 2012. I did my left sleeve also, started in 2012, and then I moved on to my calves, and then I did the torso. So my arms and my calves are the oldest pieces of work, and they need to be touched up. So I'm just gonna start my makeup here, and of course, because I'm traveling, I forgot a whole lot of things. So this is not gonna be a full face, simply because I have no foundation. But we are gonna do Palm Spring Dreams, and I'm gonna try to work out the fact that I am missing a whole lot of things that I would normally have at home. So sorry, this isn't gonna be educational. Hopefully it will at least be entertaining. So I mean, one of the things that I think is interesting about getting a full body tattoo is how much perseverance it takes. It really takes, because I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I'm tattooed from neck to toes, and I'm sure you can figure out what hurt the most, and you still gotta do it. Because if you don't tattoo some of your delicate areas, when somebody looks at the tattoo, I mean, as rare as that's going to be, if you don't have those areas done, it stands out like a sore thumb, because your eye will immediately go to the open area of skin rather than the tattooed area of skin, which is not what you want. So needless to say, I am fully tattooed, and the result was great. The result looks really, really good. So it's not that I regret that decision. I don't. Looks amazing. But it's a bittersweet moment coming to the end of such a large, intense project. It's a little weird, you know. I mean, being tattooed has been such a big part of my life since 2012 that it's hard for me to imagine that I'm not going to be needing to do it anymore. I mean, I might eventually need to touch up the full body tattoo if I choose to, maybe in my late 50s, maybe 10 years from now. But I might not, because I mean, I don't know how it's going to look. I'm very, very careful about the sun. I'm 49 and a half, and I don't like being sunburnt at all. And I work a mid-shift being a tattoo artist, so I'm actually usually working during peak sun hours, and I'm not outside a lot. So I don't necessarily get the same sun exposure as someone who's like, I'm at the pool every day. I'm not that person. I'm not at the pool every day. As a matter of fact, I like the beach, but I like it at night. And I'm not a huge beach fan. I mean, I think it's beautiful to look at, but I actually really don't like the smell of the ocean. I kind of think the ocean is stinky. To me, it kind of smells like something's died. So I'm not a huge fan of ocean water. I would personally rather go to the mountains or a major city. Like, I just got back from my vacation and I went to Copenhagen, Denmark, And then I took a cruise from Copenhagen and I stopped in Berlin, Germany, Tallinn, Estonia. I spent 2 days in St. Petersburg, Russia. I went to Helsinki, Finland, and Stockholm, Sweden, and then I went back to Copenhagen. So this time of year, it's October 28th. It's like early winter there. I mean, technically, I suppose you could call it autumn, but it is generally quite cold. It's rainy. It's there's a lot of wind. You know, and I like going this time of year for 3 main reasons. One, this is the slow time of year in tattooing. October is traditionally the slowest month. And there's several reasons for that, but one of the main reasons is that people are recovering financially from having just sent their kids back to school. And so, you know, you've got books, you've got clothes, you've got expenses. I've never heard anybody say that it was super cheap to send kids to school. So, I mean, a lot of my clients have children and they're kind of tapped out this time of year because kids are expensive, let's be honest. Once October is over, which people are recovering from their expenditures in September, then of course you've got Thanksgiving going on, and that is the most traveled holiday of the year. And people are all about seeing their friends and their family, and Thanksgiving, if you actually celebrate with a turkey and all the trimmings, I'm sure if you've ever bought that stuff, it is very expensive. So they've got that coming up. And of course, then after Thanksgiving is Christmas, and people naturally are buying Christmas presents, and there's Christmas travel, and there's Christmas parties, and tattooing is just not on most people's mind until after Christmas. Then once Christmas is actually over, tattooing becomes very popular for 2 reasons. One, people have Christmas money, and Christmas money for many people means tattoos. But also people are starting to get electronic refunds much earlier than they would before that was a thing. So it used to be in tattooing that the busy time of year was actually summer. And now that's our mid-season. So our busy season is actually kind of like starting at the end of January, early February. And then there's a little dip, usually the 15th of April until roughly the 15th of May. And then we have mid-season until usually mid-August, when people start spending their money, sending their kids back to school. And then we go from there into the autumn. So I like to vacation in autumn because it doesn't negatively impact my work very much. You know, it's not like I'm like, oh, I've got, 4 months deep worth of appointments. I'm back to what's, for me pretty standard, which is usually about a month, 2 months. And I just kind of go from there. So today, anyway, roundabout thing, today is tattoo day. And I'm pretty excited about that in general, much better. So I feel kind of bad just using this Too Faced Palm Spring Dreams eye palette now, because if you watch Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson, of course, Jeffree Star dropped the bomb that Nikki Tutorials, who did a collaboration, not this one, with Too Faced, and basically got horribly screwed over. I feel terrible using it. I'm never probably going to buy a Too Faced palette again because I just feel what they did was so sleazy, which if you don't watch Jeffree Star or Shane Dawson, what happened was essentially, I guess, in 2016, Too Faced approached Nikki Tutorials and asked her to do a collab, and she signed a contract for a flat fee of between $40,000 and $60,000. And that palette went on to make somewhere between $9 and $10 million. So she didn't even get like 0.001% of the profits. And she admits that she was just naive and she signed the contract, and that's what it is. But it was just such a sleazy thing to do, to take advantage of somebody who didn't know better. I am not a fan. But because I've already bought this palette and I have another one, Peach Matte, I feel it's wasteful for me to just throw them out. So I'm going to use them until they're gone, but I'm probably not going to use any more because I hate what they did. I hate people that do that. I myself own a tattoo parlor, and I've always done my best to try to be very fair to people, and just ethically, I just find it so sleaze-tastic. Like, hey, you're ignorant, so I'm gonna take advantage of you, and too bad for you. And I don't know. It just doesn't leave a good taste in my mouth, and I feel like sometimes women are just taken advantage of by men in ways that men would never do to another man. And maybe I'm off, maybe that's not true. Maybe it's just merely like, hey, your fault, you didn't know. But I don't know. I don't like it, so I'm not going to be buying any more of their products. There's plenty of other people that I can buy my makeup from, because if this is the first time you're joining me, welcome, welcome. But I am a tattoo artist by trade. I'm not a makeup artist, which is why my makeup is perhaps less consistent than someone who's more skilled in that arena. But I come from the perspective of trying to get better every day. I love makeup. I love playing with makeup, and I am doing my best to get better. But because makeup is, you know, just super hot right now, there's so many other great eye palettes and great women entrepreneurs out there that I can buy from, or I'm sure there's great men entrepreneurs too. I tend to hear more in the beauty space of women, but there are obviously men who do great things in the beauty space, like Jeffree Star. So, you know, I'm just saying I want to deploy my dollars to someone who's a little different than Two-Face, taking advantage of some poor, unknowing YouTuber. Well, I can say that Nikki Tutorials will never make that mistake twice. And sometimes you have to take the good out of the bad, and one of the things that you learn is from negative things happening. I mean, of course, being nearly 50, bad things have happened to me over the years, as with everybody on the planet. And sometimes you just, you know, you got to look for the silver lining, because if you focus only on the negative, I think that it really kind of destroys your joy in life and keeps you suspended in a moment of replaying something that you can't change, because you can't change the past. And it doesn't help you get in a different place. You know, you don't move forward if you're focused on all the mistakes you've made in the past. And I mean, like anyone, I've made mistakes. I don't want to focus exclusively on those. I'd rather look back and see how far I've come. You know, I mean, I think for me in my own personal business, one of the biggest hurdles that I've had to get over was dealing with other people, because I'm so introverted. I just have a really hard time with people. And both as an owner or a manager, as a tattoo artist that was dealing with people, I had a rough time. And I still don't think that I am really good at it. One of my coworkers, John, he's been working for me 7-8 years now, and he is so charming, and people absolutely love him, and they think the world of him. And if I could pick one thing to be able to absorb through osmosis from John, it would definitely be his charm and his way with people, because he's just so good at it. He's so charming, and he's really funny, and I'm like not really funny. I don't really think I'm particularly charming. And I tend to do these days larger custom projects, so it requires a lot of concentration when you're doing something that's permanent on people. And I don't do well at trying to concentrate on doing the most technically perfect tattoo that could be done, and also maintain a charming and funny anecdotal story. He's like a gunslinger. He can pull out funny stories, boom, 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 get you laughing, and his clients absolutely love him for it, and they should, because he is funny, he's charming. I'm not funny. I'm honestly not very charming. But I do a nice tattoo, so I mean, you know, there's pluses, there's minuses. Anyway, I'm hopeful that today shouldn't be a really bad day being tattooed, because all the really bad areas of my body, for the most part, are over. So for example, this year I finished both armpits, which I knew was going to be bad because both armpits are full of glands, and they're full of nerve endings, and yeah, that's not a good time. So, you know, a little bit on the rib cage, a little bit on the breast shouldn't be too bad, all things considered. Shouldn't be horrible. You know, sometimes people will ask me, like, because I'm so heavily tattooed, what's the worst area? And of course, the worst area is the genitals, bar none. That's horrible. But the other areas descending from worst to easiest really vary person by person. For me, some of my worst areas have been not the rib cage, which a lot of people hate and have a horrible time with. For me, the tops of the feet were horrible. The knees, both the kneecap and the back of the knee, were really, really painful. All right, I got all kinds of eyeliner in my tear, so I gotta go fix that. I'll be back. You know what's funny? Like, I forgot my face makeup, so I don't have foundation, I don't have concealer, I don't have powder. The only thing I have is my NARS Mini Orgasm Shimmer and Blush combo. So I'm pretty limited on what I can do makeup-wise because I just don't have a lot with me. And it seems like anytime I forget something, like that's when I need it the most. I'm like, darn it, I forgot X, and X I really need. Well, my face is totally broken out today. It looks terrible. And I got nothing. I got nothing. So sadly, everybody at 5 Points, where Chris Garber works, gonna have to see my bare skin with no makeup on. But because I know I'm gonna get a lot of pictures taken today, not by him, but just by myself, because I'm finishing my suit and I'm excited about that. Really? Darn it, still got eye makeup there. All right, I gotta stop again. I'm sorry. So I would have preferred that I had some face makeup to kind of cope with the fact that I've got like a breakout here, I got a breakout there, I've got one over here. Such is life. They're just gonna have to see raw beauty. All right, well, that's not terrible, all things considered. On to mascara. So one of my favorite mascaras is Maybelline. I've been using it since I was a kid. Not a kid, but like 16 when I started to wear makeup. You know, I don't remember if I wasn't allowed to wear makeup earlier than that, or I just didn't want to wear makeup earlier than that. I think it's probably the latter. I was not taught by my mom how to do my hair or do makeup. so I learned on my own, and I'm still learning. And I think I think even in the last couple of months, I got on YouTube in August, and I was really pretty nervous about the whole thing because, I'm not a spring chicken, and I'm not a makeup artist, and I did it for a couple reasons. One, I'm turning 50 and I wanted to do it, and so it gave me an excuse to use some fancy makeup, and just gave me an excuse to go with the flow that way. But also I just wanted to try something new. And so, it is what it is, right? So I think I'm doing okay. So a lot of people tell me that my skin looks pretty decent for being, a couple months away from 50. And I think that that's a couple different things. I think that because I have really, really, really oily skin, that part of it is just you have a natural moisturizer, and you tend, in my experience, people with heavily oily skin tend to look a little bit younger. And I really do think it's just purely the fact that they have less dryness going on. Because in my experience, dryness leads to kind of like crepiness. And I don't get any of that because my skin is never really particularly dry. So I think that's one of the reasons that, generally speaking, most people would look at me and not be like, oh, she's 50. They'd be like, they would know I was 40. I don't know that they would know I was 50. Which, I do definitely have wrinkles, don't get me wrong. I've got little fine lines and crepiness, and my skin at nearly 50 is not as nice as it was at 40. But I think my makeup application is way better, and that's saying something. So I've been thinking about this whole monumental milestone in my life of having my tattoo actually completed. It's been such an abstract idea, the idea of being finished, for so long, because it's been such a long process. It's not like, getting faith written on the wrist where it's a 1-minute tattoo and away you go. And now that I'm done, I have no intention to really get my face tattooed, and I purposely had my throat tattoo come down in a V because I go up and down in my weight, and when I have a double chin like now, I think that this shape is more flattering than a straight across line. And also, I 100% assume I'm going to have a facelift at some point, and when I consulted my surgeon, he was like, you need to keep it as low to the neck as you can, so it really only goes up on my neck about maybe an inch, maybe an inch and a half, so that when I eventually have a facelift, they can pull that skin up and I'm not pulling the tattoo onto my face, which was not something I wanted. All right, I'm gonna do a tiny bit of shimmer. I don't feel like my shimmer application game is really on point. I think a lot of times for me, because I have such large pores, that it ends up just making my skin look a little worse because it highlights the pores and pulls the light into that, which I don't love. Honestly, if I could go to makeup school or, makeup artist school, I would 100% do it. But at this point in my life, I've been to school so much. Actually, the only debt I have is school loans, and I am definitely not looking to make that any worse than it already is. I've already got a lot of loans. I'm kind of torn as to whether I should put lipstick on. I'm thinking yes. And I was in a hurry and I didn't pack in advance. And so basically all the tones of lipstick that I have are more or less versions of the same. I have Berry Recognize from Wet n Wild Liquid Catsuit, Perfect Pout Matte Lipstick. I have American Woman in NARS Power Matte Lipstick. I have Swag Matte Bare Minerals Lipstick. And I have Kiss Kiss Bang Bang Marc Jacobs lipstick. Well, I'm definitely not wearing this because this isn't a long-lasting lipstick. So it's kind of up to these. And none of these are really the shade that I would hope for. I think we're gonna go with the Bare Minerals. Go with the Bare Minerals, hope with the best. You know, one of the things I like about the Bare Mineral lipstick is I really like the way this particular one feels going on. Oh, it's funny, look, you can barely tell my real lips from this. No lip liner, you know why? Forgot it. You know, my natural lip tone is medium, so a lot of times if I'm getting kind of like medium chestnut roses tend to be my favorite, but I feel like they're a really safe color to go with, and I'm trying to get out of my box and do things a little more daring because at this point, why not? And so I'm trying to try some things that are just a little more dramatic, and yet every time I look at someone's lipsticks or lip stains, I'm like, oh, I kind of like the chestnut rose. That would look probably pretty good on me. And then I end up with like 6 types of chestnut rose. Nobody needs that, but that's where I'm always at. And then the other color that I love and I am drawn to and have bought probably more than I should is blue. And it's not that I think blue looks particularly fantastic on me, it's just that I really like the color teal. And so a lot of times that's one of the strange out of the box colors that different lipstick manufacturers will make. And I'll be like, oh, I'm trying to get out of the box, here's teal. So I think at home right now I have like 3, maybe 4 teal lipsticks. And I'm like, how much teal do I really wear? I really don't wear it that much. So I gotta try to stay away from the teal, stay away from the chestnut rose. And one of the new lip colors I tried was lavender. It was actually really close to this, but more vibrant. And that one I thought looked really good. I was like, well, look at me go. I've tried something that isn't a nude, it isn't a chestnut rose, and isn't a teal, and I actually like it. I think because, you know, playing with makeup is something I've done on and off my whole life, but I started doing it more 2 months ago because I feel like I've lived a portion of my life for what other people think. My mother, may she rest in peace, was a beautiful woman, and she was a very opinionated woman, and she unfortunately was maybe not the most supportive mom that ever walked the earth. And when I was growing up, I felt criticized all the time. Not felt, I was criticized all the time for the way I looked and the clothing choices that I made and the makeup choices I made and what I did with my hair, my clothes. I mean, really, it was all about what she thought was beautiful, and my version of beauty is very different. My version of beauty includes tattoos, and that was something that was horribly disappointing to her. And I've had various romantic partners over the years who were not very supportive about the way I wanted to look. And I allowed myself to be influenced by that more than I should have. So when I turned 49 in June, I was like, I'm going to start doing things because I want to do them and not because I'm afraid to do them because someone in my life is going to tell me it's wrong or it's bad or I don't look good. Because at the end of the day, I honestly tend to wear makeup for myself because I like the way I look in makeup. And when I've had other people in my life who were close to me criticize my makeup, it felt bad to me, but I've just decided that I'm going to try to ignore them because I'm one of those people that's probably over-influenced by people who are close to me in terms of what they think. And at a certain point at the end of the day, you've got to make yourself happy, and so makeup it is. But I'm not an expert, you know, I mean, I can honestly say I started hardcore getting into makeup 2 months ago. And it's not because I didn't want to. I did play with makeup over the years, but I didn't wear a lot of it. And I didn't wear a lot of it because I got a lot of criticism for doing so. And I felt bad about myself because other people would say not very supportive things about my wearing it. You know, like one of the very last things my mom said to me before she passed away, may she rest in peace, was she looked at a particular picture and felt that the lipstick color was unflattering, and she was just like, yeah, that's not a good color for you, you know, you basically look terrible. And that was very hurtful to me. I was like, wow, my mom had cancer and she died of cancer. And I was like, she was very close to the end at that point. It was within the last year and a half of her life. And I was like, you're focusing on my lipstick color? Really? This seems appropriate at this time? Anyway, it hurt me a lot. And so I've had a lot of people in my life who are close to me, whom I loved very dearly, who just didn't have very nice things to say about me and my makeup choices. So I just generally didn't wear much of anything. And I like makeup. I think it's fun. I think it's fun to play with. And I'm not saying I'm a superstar. I am no Jeffree Star. Like, I am not transformed into this beautiful, magical creature, but I should be able to do what I want. And so, you know, I'm trying some makeup. So what do you think? No face makeup on? Look at my gray hair. It's crazy, right? I actually love my gray hair. I really wish that this part was like everywhere, but it's taking a really long time to grow. And as a matter of fact, my mom, when she passed away, she was 70, her hair was not 100% silver at 70. She did have a little tiny speck at the nape of her neck that was still dark. She had naturally black hair, but she was beautiful from beginning to end. She was a beautiful soul. And I don't want to make it sound like my mom wasn't amazing, because she was, but she was definitely very stubborn and judgmental. I'm liking it. What do we think? Hey, if you have enjoyed spending a little time with me, I appreciate your time, attention, and energy. And I hope that if you enjoy my work, you would like, subscribe, share, comment, give me a heart, and have a beautiful day. Thanks. Bye.